don't you learn Spanish? I go, what the fuck do I need to know Spanish for? I'm American and I'm from here.
Yeah, but
Why don't you guys learn to speak English?
You're working for a Mexican, dude.
Man, I don't know how I fell into that bucket. Son of a bitch. And then he says, Harley, why don't you learn Spanish? I go, what the fuck do I need to know Spanish for? I'm American and I'm from here.
Yeah, but
why don't you guys learn to speak English?
You're working for a Mexican, dude.
Man, I don't know how I fell into that bucket. Son of a bitch.
All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Shem Shai, the belongers to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who will teach well, who taught us this truth. I came across this video, and I thought that, it's hilarious. I laughed. I was dying because here we see a Edomite in the construction industry complaining about, his situation. Well, what is he really complaining about? He's complaining about the fact that he has to live in the same manner that the Hebrew Israelites, so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics, have had to live for decades. We have had to live like this, man. And, we have us living in this manner is another reminder of why Yahweh Shai has to come back. Because this is not living. Going to work from 8 to 5, being away from your family, being away from your newborn, being away from, any construction project that you may be building on your land, being away from your hobbies because you have to go give your life to a greedy corporation that doesn't value you. See, what is something that all of these rich Edomites will tell you? Health is above wealth. Steve Jobs, one of the richest men in the world, said that your health is far above worth your wealth. The time that we have been given on this planet is far more valuable than any hourly job that we can ever hope for. And now that these Edomites are suffering in the same manner that we have been suffering for a long time, now we come across these videos. And yeah, we laugh at them. They're funny, But this is a reality that's coming to pass. Deuteronomy 30:1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the. I believe it is verse 7. Yeah, verse 7. Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, thy God, will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So we go back to this video, and this man is upset because now what? Now he's forced to live in the same manner that the Hebrew Israelites have been forced to live for hundreds of years, man. And that's prophecy, man. Again, we laugh at these videos, but I myself, I've dealt with the same thing, man. I have had Edomites working underneath me. You tell them to do something and they give you that look, they'll do it, but they give you that look that I shouldn't have to listen to you. Well, look, we as the Israelites, so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics, we have been feeling that same way since we came into this truth, man. Because the minute that you come into this truth, then, then everything begins to make more sense and then get you upset. Let's get Ecclesiastes 10:7. Let's get that. It says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So what does this scripture mean? Because this is one of those scriptures in the Bible that we would come across. No, we may never have come across this scripture in in the Bible before we came into the truth. Why? Because prior to coming into the truth, we didn't read our Bible. The majority of us did it. I mean, we knew the foundational scriptures, but we weren't going into Ecclesiastes. We weren't going into Genesis, and we definitely were not going into the book of Revelations. So this is one of those scriptures that you would come across. It'd go right over your head. But let's get Isaiah 9 and 2. 9 and 2. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them has the light shined. See, now that we have come into the understanding of who we are as a nation, now that light has been shined upon us. And once that light begins to be shined, there you cannot hide anything. I mean, mentally think about that. Think about a dark, like, let's say that when a helicopter is chasing after a high-speed pursuit and it's nighttime. But when the helicopter begins to shine its light on the car and its surrounding areas, there is nothing that can be hidden. Look, we were once living in a point of darkness, but Yahweh Shai has now begun to shine that light upon us, man. And now we understand everything. Now we can see the exits coming up. Now we can see the red lights, the stop signs that we pass by in our ignorance. And because the scriptures talk about that he winks at our ignorance. So going back to the point in Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, when we have the light shining upon us and we have the full understanding, as the elder apostle Tahar says, when our eye is single, right? Which meaning that our eye single, meaning that we have the 100% truth. Okay, because there is no reason for there to be 25 different camps, man. We, as Hebrew Israelites, so-called Black Standards and Hispanics, have been reawakened unto who we are. There is no need for 25 different camps. There should be one camp, starting with the elders on down. Everybody should be given double honors to the elders and the apostles. We are not in this thing to make money. We're not in this thing to get views. And brothers can understand that because, brothers will do videos. It may be the best video that you ever done. The spirit flowed. The word choice was great. And you get one view. And we're okay with that. Because at the end of the day, we're not here for views. We are, but we're not. We're not here for views in the way that, we're not looking to get monetized. We're here for views because we're reaching for the elect. So going back to the scripture, now that we have the understanding, now we can go back to Ecclesiastes 10 and 7 and read what the scripture says. It says, I have seen servants upon horses. And so a servant upon a horse, what's that mean? The scripture here is talking about the basis of men riding upon the highest position in the globe. And furthermore, it says, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Imagine, who's the president right now? Imagine the president working at McDonald's. It would blow your mind. Now, imagine a McDonald's worker running the country. That would blow your mind. Well, I'm here to tell you, according to the wisdom that has been given to us, starting from our apostles on down, that is what the prophet was going into here. See, the prophet foresaw what was to happen, that there would be a falling away, as mentioned, 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd or 3rd chapter. Okay? That we would fall away, that the Israelite nation would lose the, what's the word that I'm looking for here? That the Israelite nation would lose their prestige upon the whole earth, because that's what we had. We had the prestige, man. That's what, when you go into the book of Genesis, where, these people, Napoleon, the Nephilim, a man of great stature. We had a great stature, but, Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, talks about us, becoming that byword. And Ecclesiastes 10, verse 7 goes further into that, man. Our people have been at the end, on the last stage of humanity when it comes to everybody else. But now those curses are jumping onto everybody else, and rightfully so. Because when you go into 2nd Ezra 5 and 42, it says, and he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring, like as there is no slackness of the last, even though there is no swiftness of the first. And so what's the scripture saying? In the same manner that we had to be brought down low. Again, going back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, scripture talks about us being the tail and not the head. Well, in the same manner that we have been the tail and not the head, now this kingdom is being translated from one people onto the other. So Sirach 10 and 7. Now this kingdom is being translated to whom it should have always been. The scripture talks about, I have said ye are gods, but ye shall die like men. We have been dying like men. And one of the biggest manners of dying like men is to be called a man when you are the Alachayim, when you are the child of the Most High Yahweh Shem Shai. One of the biggest manners of dying like man is being counted as just another person of this world. No, we have never been another people of this world. Matter of fact, let's get that. Nation of priests. We'll go ahead and cheat. Exodus 19 and 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Because there was a specific group of people that had been set aside to be rulers alongside Yahweh B'Shem Shai. See, salvation never went to everybody else, man. Salvation only went to one specific group of people, man. So, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up. Again, we see these people, they get upset because now they have to work underneath us. That's always been the prophecy, man. Isaiah 14 and 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh B'Shem Shai for servants and handmaids. Let's get that word possess. Let's get that word definition. What does it mean to possess? It means to own, to hold as property, to have under control. And so this is something that a lot of our own people, when they hear this truth come out, what do you mean we're going to own so-called white people? White people are the best thing that ever happened to us. I love white people. We'll never own them. That's the same mentality that every other kingdom had. The Egyptians didn't think that they were ever going to have a downfall. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Medes, the Greeks, the ancient Roman Empire never thought that they would fall. If you were to tell any one of these kingdoms during the high part of their kingdomship that they would fall, they would laugh at you in the face. And that's what our people do. They laugh at us in our face, man. We are going to possess these people. That's what the scriptures talk about, man. This isn't us saying this. This is the scripture saying this. It says the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh Shem Shai. For servants and handmaids, because we're servants and handmaids right now. You can't survive in this place called America without getting up early, leaving your family, missing out on memories, missing out on furthering your house, missing out on fixing your car, missing out on, spending time with brothers. You cannot do any of this without doing what? Without working and building up the kingdom of these Edomites. So when, for those new listeners, when you guys hear us talk about that, these Edomites, these so-called whites are going into captivity, yeah, they're going into captivity. Because why? Because we're in captivity. I already showed you the scripture that talks about judgment being a circle. What did Justin Timberlake say? What goes around comes around. All right? He was quoting that from the scriptures. So now, in the same manner that they possessed us, now we're going to possess them. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Who's ruling over us, man? We're going to rule over them. So until the next one, shalom.